Hi.
Hi.
What's up, dudes? I'm Erin.
I'm Nicole.
Welcome to Dude That's Fucked Up, the podcast of nightmares.
I was going to say of your dreams, but you went the other way.
I think it's the podcast of your nightmares.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Could be.
So how's everybody doing? How are you?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Good.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Pregnant still.
Like pregnant
cool.
AF, yeah.
Yep. Any business for this week?
We have some lovely new reviews.
Great.
I feel like we've gotten a lot of ratings and reviews lately. Also want to shout out, and that's why we drink, for talking about us as much as they do. And
We love them.
love them.
So cool.
I was going to go to Christine's on the 4th of July, but we didn't have a car because it was in the shop. So I didn't end up going.
Oh, I barely made it out of my house for 4th of July. But it was fun. We went and saw the fireworks from the National Mall from my friend's balcony that has like a good view of the...
I wondered where you were.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not as impressed as I thought I would be. I was kind of a curmudgeon. I've seen better fireworks shows.
You were a Scrooge.
Yeah, I think where we're from puts on a great fireworks show on our lake.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're more up close and personal with those fireworks, so maybe it
Feels different.
But I don't know.
Well, I was very up close and personal with some fireworks. One, we were they did them in the bay, down near Belmont Shore in Long Beach. And my brother lives down there, and so he, reserved a spot, and we just had to show up. It was great because we were coming back from Alaska that day. And we went down there, and we're watching the fireworks show, and it's close. The barge... The fireworks barge is close, but they're all going up. Well, one kind of went sideways and shot off towards us on the beach and exploded right above us. It was scary.
Ooh.
And I was almost
Ruggieri to death?
Yeah. Yeah. It was almost part of our own podcast. It would have been tragic.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, but that was the only one. And other than that, it was very fun. And I was like, you know what? I think I decided about fireworks. I like watching the actual fireworks. What I don't like about fireworks is the whole day. Because I just remember being a kid, you have to get there super early, get a spot. You're there all day. You're sunburnt and tired.
Yeah.
And dehydrated. Yeah, but I like just showing up and watching them and going home. That was great.
Yeah. I like fireworks themselves, and I like they're very impressive.
Yeah.
But we were watching before the fireworks started, because it's a countdown, and it's
a New Year's Eve countdown.
Yeah, kind of. And we were watching PBS, the fireworks show hosted by John Stamos.
Oh,
it was great. And Jimmy Buffett and the Beach Boys were performing, and we're just it's so hokey and fun. But we're watching it and waiting for the fireworks show to start, and we realized that all those people get down to the National Mall to be there for the fireworks show at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And it doesn't start until a little after 9.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking hot that day on the 4th of July.
Oh my God.
It was over it was 95 with 70% humidity.
Oh no.
It kept we kept thinking it was gonna rain, thunder and lightning all day, and it never did. It was just very oppressive and swampy. So all those people are just down there in their 4th of July best, waiting for John Stamos to kick off the party.
In their 4th of July sweat. Because you fucking have swamp ass. If you're out there for that long and you're just sitting in this hot sun.
Oh, yeah.
In the hot sun.
They all had swamp ass and crotch. It was, you could see it on their faces.
Because they had swamp face, too.
They had swamp face.
What? Swamp crotch?
All those people, you can tell they'd pan out to the crowd, and everybody's half-heartedly dancing to the Beach Boys, and it's No,
No.
they can barely move because they're damp in their nether regions and they're chafing. I hate it for them.
Oh God, they're all like super dehydrated from all the hot dogs they've been eating.
Shit.
Gross.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's fun. And John Samos played the drums, or what?
He did. He did. He played the guitar and the drums for the Beach Boys.
Not at the same time. That would be a.
No, that'd be a feat.
Yeah.
We were all just like, God damn, he looks so fucking good.
Yeah,
he
looks
is
good.
so handsome. He's obviously had like a lot of work done, but like he just looks great.
But it's like tasteful work, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He obviously started the preemptive Botox, I think. So it looks like natural.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm wondering if I need to start doing that. But I don't know. I think I'm a few years off maybe. I don't know.
My indentation in my forehead has been getting deeper.
Oh, yeah, that's what my thing is right here.
Yeah.
In between my frown lines.
I mean, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that literally every episode.
Well, we're not. Other people are living their own lives.
That's right. Well, anything fucked up for you this week?
No, I don't have anything. I don't think. Do you?
Well, not really. I just I saw the movie Blockers.
Oh, so good.
It is so good, and I highly recommend it. It's very cute and very funny.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Warning: there's full frontal nudity, male nudity in it.
Oh, I did not realize he had such a good dick.
I don't think that's his dick.
You don't think so?
Oh, well, does it ever show his face and his dick at the same time?
There's like a full body pic. It's Ken from Veep, right? Yeah. What's the actor's name?
I forget, but he's also the boss on Office Space.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Maybe it is his dick. Good for him.
Thanks, Peter.
Hey.
I'm gonna need you to come in on the weekend. That'd be great. That guy, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
His dick was looking real good.
It was a good one, yeah.
But I was not expecting that at all.
No,
I was like, whoa.
That's why it was so funny.
The balls from the back too. Shit. I was like, nope. No, thank you, sir. But anyway, this movie is great, and what makes it so great is A, it's funny, and B, I like that the message of it was like very like sex positive, and it was interesting because I feel like I haven't really seen a movie like that where girls, you know, like teenage girls are like have this I don't know, agency about them, and they're like, I'm just gonna have sex and whatever, but it made the parents look stupid, you know, like and I like that Ike Barinholtz's character, the dad, was just like, you guys, this is so weird that you're so obsessed with your daughter's virginities. It's so strange. So, and I think that's kind of a good segue maybe for the topic we're about to talk about. And this isn't what made me want to do this topic, seeing this movie, but I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, this is why this is such a big deal. So today's topic is about child marriage. And specifically, we're going to talk about it in the United States because it is a thing that happens here.
Dude, a lot. And it's not like, oh, it's like two consensual, like 17-year-olds. No, you guys.
No.
It's gross.
Yeah, and it can be, but like that definitely contributes to the numbers, but
like a small sliver.
Yeah, so that's the only good segue I could think of to like jump into this topic.
I liked the segue you had in here. We had just in our notes it says segue, and then Erin wrote, "If we can, haha, Jesus."
It's a tough one, you know. It's a tough one. Oops. Sorry, I almost dropped my shit. Yeah, so if you're like, wait, what are you talking about? Child marriage. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's anyone under the age of 18 getting married. And of course, the majority of child marriages are happening between underage girls, like literal children, and getting married to older men. Yeah. And that could be like anywhere from like 19 or 18, 19-year-old men to the limit does not exist.
To
so
infinite
fun.
old gross dudes with nasty balls.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So yeah, I think when you think of child marriage, typically, the average citizen thinks of somebody, the average American maybe isn't thinking America. They're thinking, classically of, developing countries, and maybe, I don't know, just kind of very condescendingly thinking of other places in the world.
Yeah.
That are quote unquote backwards.
Yeah, because I think I think of like arranged marriages a bit, so that's like kind of where my mind goes. Where there a lot, or like where there are people where there's like a lot of poverty and a lot of like the disparity between wealth and poverty is really big, and like the wealthy old dudes want to marry like young, beautiful women or whatever.
And or like the culture is just so different than ours. But as a matter of fact, that's not true. I mean, that does happen in developing countries a lot. But it's unbelievably common in the United States, like majorly. We preach to other countries about how it's wrong and backwards. Like literally, we have politicians like making statements and talking about how like X country is backwards, blah, blah, blah. And we need to, instate these sanctions on them because of child marriage or whatever. While we, in fact, allow a lot of child marriage. I was just going to say, like, I don't know. I don't even know how much is happening, like, currently. But it's, like, over the past 15 years, or from 2000 to 2015, it's a pretty high number.
Yeah.
Over 207,000 American minors were married in that time period of between 2000 and 2015.
That's fucking gross.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get into like where it's most prevalent, I guess, but
Arkansas. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Well, it's prevalent in a lot of conservative religious communities.
Yeah.
It's prevalent in poor rural areas, but it's also prevalent among all races, all backgrounds in America.
Yeah.
So Midwestern white people to, any other cultural background you could think of.
Yeah.
Anywhere else in the country. It's a lot. So I had no idea. No clue that we actually allowed child marriage to happen in the country. And it's not only I don't know that it's not only legal, but that it happens with like some regularity.
Yeah. I had no idea about this. Also, and we'll get into this, but like even like what's being done about it, it's like how it's just weird to me that it's like how can we like not get this to end? Like can't we all agree that that's gross? Like, but we can't. We can't all agree.
We can't. We'll talk about some of those reasons too a little bit later.
Yeah.
But just like for some context, just to like put it all out there.
Yeah.
Every single state except for Delaware and New Jersey allow exceptions to their age of marriage, such as parental consent, judicial consent, pregnancy, or a combination of these. So with all those exceptions are taken into account, 19 U.S. states have no minimum age requirement.
What?
So to put that in your mind as a thing, that means in theory, a fucking like 50-year-old dude can marry a literal baby.
Oh, gross.
Or like a 5-year-old or 10-year-old, whatever.
Ew. As long as the parents are okay. Or a judge says it's fine.
A judge says it's okay. Yeah.
And honestly, there's such bad people out there that, like, that's scary. Because this is what blows my mind too. It's like parents don't always have the child's best interest in mind. In an ideal world, yes, that would definitely be what happens. But there's such gross people out there.
Yeah, and I don't think that this is like I think this is the exception. I really don't think this is like the prevalence of all of child marriages. I don't think this is like what's actually happening.
Yeah.
That would be, I'm just saying in theory, like that could be a thing.
I think.
And I don't know what judge would give consent. Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sure there are communities, especially if you're in like a culty type of situation, where you can be an old dude and marry a 16-year-old and like get the parents' consent, and they'd be like into it because they think you're special as you know, like a cult leader or something. But like, I think you'd be hard pressed to find, hopefully, knock on wood, like some parents that are like, you could marry our 8-year-old. Like,
yeah,
hopefully. I think enough people are like, no, that's nasty.
I mean, who knows? Like, there's a lot of insulated communities that we don't know a lot about. But it's
Scientology.
Seriously. And like, not to like be, you know, judgy or condemning of anything. We don't know. We're just saying this is in theory a thing that could happen.
But we do condemn this.
Oh yeah. Oh, I condemn child marriage 1,000%.
Okay, just
I'm saying I'm not making a snap judgment hot take on a religious community. I have no idea. Yeah, so 31 of the jurisdictions have a minimum age, which varies between 14 and 18. So that's better.
I barely had my fucking period at 14.
I know. And then effective from January 1st, 2019, New Hampshire will have enacted a minimum age of 16. Prior to that date, the age was 13 for girls and 14 for boys.
Oh, you can get your license and get married on the same day.
Not even your fucking license, your driver's permit. Jesus.
Really?
Well, I think it's like 15 to get your permit. But
yeah.
Yeah, I guess, your driver's license, yeah.
But that is crazy.
Yeah.
You could get a job and get married on the same day if he lets you, because you're a fucking lady slave.
Or you have to have your parents sign off on both because, fucking hell.
Some worker's permit.
Yeah, exactly. And then, in 2018, Delaware became the first state to ban child marriage without exceptions, followed by New Jersey. And Idaho has the highest rate of child marriage, so that's cool.
Why? Because it's so, like, rural? Or...
I guess so. I have no idea.
Oh my God. Pete's like, what do you want to do for your birthday this year? And I was like, I kind of want to go away somewhere for a weekend. And he's like, where do you want to go? I'm like, I don't know. Is there anything cool in Idaho? And he's like, I don't think so. And now I know I don't want to go there.
I think there's probably some like good hiking or something, but I don't know.
Like, what if like I went and then I'm like a part of someone's child wedding? I would shut it down. They'd be like, does anyone object? I'd be like, hi, my name's Nicole.
Hi, I don't know you, but yes. Oh, man. Colorado's beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, I think we might go to Colorado, actually.
It's great.
Yeah, or Las Vegas. You know what? Why broke it? Why change it if it ain't broken or whatever?
That's right. Go see a show.
Yeah.
Eat some food.
I just want to drink drinks by the pool. That's my favorite thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Amazing. You know what you can't do if you're getting married in Vegas as a child?
What?
Drinks by the pool.
Oh my God.
Can't do that to celebrate. Sorry, kid.
You can't buy a firearm and you can't gamble. So have a great fucking time in Las Vegas. On your wedding, you 14-year-old. Yeah.
Ugh, awful.
Poor people.
Well, a little bit of good news though. It's become less common in recent years, which possibly reflects the changing social norms, higher rates of school attendance for girls, and a decline in marriage in general. 23,500 minors got married in 2000, But that figure's dropped to a little over 9,000 by 2010.
Oh, that's like less than half.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's better. It's still 9,000 children getting married, though. But I don't know what it is now. Those are just the stats we have that we know of. And then I don't know, though, because as recently as 2014, more than 57,000 minors aged 15 to 17 were married. So
these numbers are all over the place.
Yeah, I think there's like not a lot of, I don't know, the data is, it's a lot because state by state it's so different, and it's just like very, very weird and shameful, I think.
Which it should be. Not for the child, because they don't really have a choice in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I listened to Frontline did a special on this. PBS's Frontline. Mm-hmm. They had like they did a podcast episode and then like an actual like episode of the show. Uh-huh. And I listened to the podcast, and they interviewed this family where the girl, the young girl in the family gets pregnant. And they sound like totally normal, like regular people. Like this is not like extreme by any means. They don't, they're religious, but they're not like in some insulated, like culty, conservative religious community. They're like normal, just Midwestern people. And she gets pregnant. She's like 14 years old. She like had fallen in love with a dude who was like 24 or something. And she gets pregnant, and then the family just decides like, the only way to go forward is for her to get married, because they didn't want the guy to get in trouble, because he wasn't like a, I don't know. He wasn't like, even though she was quote unquote consenting, in the end, she was not prepared to be married, at all. And it was all of these things compounding around her, like her parents, like being like, really religious, her thinking that marriage was going to be this fun thing because she was like in love with the dude she was with, and it was just going to be like this hunky-dory experience. When you're 14, you don't know shit about shit. You don't know anything. So this whole situation, she just it sounded like she felt like she was like very pushed into, and like, even if you're like kind of gung-ho about thinking about what it will be like, that's not always how it goes. And there's lots of shit that can happen. So it ended up, spoiler alert, everybody got arrested. Her dad got arrested. Oh. The dude got arrested. Yeah, it's like, it's not good.
How old was the dude?
24.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed their ages. I did not realize there was a fucking 10-year age difference between a 14-year-old girl and a 24-year-old dude, and that's disgusting.
Well, like, yes, at that time, a 14-year-old and a 24-year-old emotionally are not compatible. My parents are 8 years apart, but that they got married later on in life. Like, I think age gaps are one thing, but like this time in life.
Yeah, my parents were 14 years apart, but they were both adults. Like, when they got together. 14, you're a child predator if you're 24 and you're dating a fucking high school freshman.
That's what this whole thing is, and like that's why this is like a whole thing. So the family was trying to protect. Anyway, I highly
protect the dude,
but not really. Like,
to keep the family together, because they were like, you have to get married.
They just didn't want this like crazy scandal, and it's like,
oh my god,
yeah.
That's the type of parents that aren't looking out for the well-being of their child. They're like, oh, we don't want this like mark on our family, and it's like, oh, fuck you, like,
yeah,
but they like, got it.
It's like, it's really, I don't know. We can chop this up a little bit, but
yeah.
So yeah, statutory rape is like one reason this happens. Either because they don't want the anybody to get in trouble, like they don't want the guy to go to jail or whatever, or it's like seen as a consensual relationship, which I just don't think that you can be a consenting when you're that young to anything.
No.
Even though like 18 isn't some magical number that makes you a rational adult human.
Yeah.
It's very arbitrary, but at the same time, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like nobody should be getting married until they're in their like late 20s, early 30s, but
Yeah.
because your brain's still developing.
You're not who you are gonna be yet.
No, but everybody's different. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, it's so hard. It's so
Yeah.
hard, and we get into some very squishy territory with all that. But we won't go into that. And then there's also like the reason as marriage is a right, which fully support in most cases. But like for example, California upholds child marriage through like the ACLU. There was a whole court case about it, arguing that marriage should be available to all people, regardless of age, sex, gender, religion, etc. Age is the one thing that I would say. Maybe take that out. But everything else, yes.
Yeah. Age once you're 18 and older.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And they had this like woman arguing like and again, like I don't want to get into any squishy territory, but like she was arguing like she was like in the foster care system and being able to get married at 17 helped get her out of like a really bad situation. And that's great that anecdotally that worked for her and helped her out of that situation. But like, I think a lot of times doesn't go that way for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel like you hear all the little stories that are like nice anecdotes are like the exceptions. Like,
yeah,
that's not what a majority of this law is being used for.
Right, and I don't think that it's the extreme of the fucking babies getting married to 50-year-olds either. Right. There's a lot of like in between, and I feel like that's why this has been such a hard thing to change.
Yeah.
And it still exists because people get into these like arguments that are very, because like I said, like with statutory rape, with marriage is a right, with all these things,
yeah,
you get into some very squishy territory.
Yeah.
And then another reason is religion, obviously, slash parents preemptively preventing sex before marriage. So instead of just like talking to their children and educating them and providing birth control and all these things, and being sex positive, it's just like you have to get married. If you want to have sex, you have to get married. Bottom line. And that's why a lot of these cases come about, because it's like they find out their kid's having sex, they get pregnant, or they just find out they want to have sex, or they're in intimate relationships with another person and they're like, okay, you have to get married.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
I mean, kids even put that pressure on themselves, because where we grew up, I think we had a lot of friends get married pretty early. Like, I mean, I maybe no close friends for me, but I knew a lot of people from high school that got married right out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like because they felt, based on religious beliefs and their parents' values and stuff, that they couldn't be having sex unless they were married.
Right.
And a lot of those marriages aren't around anymore because you're like, oh, that was stupid. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, everybody's different. Like, again, like people make it work and it's fine. Yeah. And they just know that that's the person they're meant to be with. And that's cool. I'm glad. But, but again, those people waited until they were over 18 to get married.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
If you really love somebody, like, you don't need to get married right away. Like,
unless you think that you're a sinner if you're having sex.
I'm going to tell you what right now. There's worse sins than fucking before marriage. And like listening to like a lot of the arguments that revolve around religion, it all seems to revolve around the fact that people they truly believe that the worst thing that can happen is that a child is born out of wedlock. Like, that's the worst thing that could happen to a baby.
Say that to my face.
Yeah.
All you religious people, you fuckers. Who gives a shit?
Well, like, it's like there's this whole like idea that people who just are single parents or just have a baby out of wedlock, it like this baby just becomes an automatic serial killer or something. It's so like, that's the fucking thought in some of these people's heads. Like, It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because what ends up happening when you make an actual literal child that is having a child, maybe get married, 70 to 80% of child marriages end in divorce. So there's sanctity of marriage out the door, gone, ended in divorce. Married children are twice as likely to live in poverty because they are children and can't get jobs. And I mean, fuck, it's pretty fucking logical to me.
Dude.
They're 3 times more likely to be beaten by spouses than married adults because, again, they're children who have no... it's like they almost lose their entire personhood.
Yeah.
Once they get married. I mean, they're children.
Yeah, and like them being abused doesn't have, or like them not getting educations or not being able to get jobs isn't usually because of them. It's like there's so many instances where, I mean, because think about the type of person that would marry a child. Like,
yeah,
obviously, 1, something's off.
Yeah.
2, you don't want to be completely in control, which is why you're marrying a child who hasn't developed as a full human yet.
50% of them are likely to drop out of high school. They're 4 times less likely to finish college. They're at considerably higher risk of diabetes, cancer, stroke, and other physical illnesses.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's bad. And they're much more likely to suffer from mental health problems. Go figure. Huh. Now, full disclosure, my grandparents got married when they were 15 and 16.
Oh.
My mom is a product of an interracial teenage marriage. So I fully understand this happens like on that level. Like and especially back in like what, the 60s that was happening like probably a lot. So I get that that's a factor. Yeah, they were pregnant with my mom and they loved each other. I still wear my grandma's wedding ring. Yeah, when she passed away. They were married until she passed from cancer. So, you know, I get it, but there's definitely circumstances that go beyond. It's a seemingly binary concept, like you don't marry children, period.
Yeah.
But like I'm just saying, like, there is children get married to each other sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're talking like a child bride with a fucking older man is unacceptable.
Yeah. It is weird because it's like, you know, these days it's kind of like, well, just like live your lives until 2 years from now when you can get married or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess like if you wanted to be autonomous and you were a 16 and a 15-year-old or a 17 and a 17-year-old, like, and you wanted to get married and you were having a baby and whatever, you wanted to do that, there's so many things you still can't do. So you need it. If you don't get married, you can't live on your own because you're children. Mm-hmm. You don't have a lot of legal rights as a 17-year-old. Your parents have those rights as your guardian for you. So like, I don't know, but it's just such a weird whole big thing.
I don't know, man. It's so fucking strange.
It's really strange.
And I don't know how we got to this point and why it's still a thing.
Because women are not equal and they're considered property a lot of times. And like,
especially girls. Not even women.
Girls. Yeah. And it just, it's so sad reading some of these stories of these women like who were child brides. And it's not that they didn't want to be in some instances. You know, some of them were like, yeah, I'm into this. Like, I want to be married to this person and start a family and like be a grown up essentially. They're playing house.
They're playing house, yeah.
And like, and so, you know, they're like, yeah, I mean, I got my parents' permission because I wanted it and we got married and then, it was bad. And it's like, yeah. And then they can't get out.
Yeah. Well, that's because we don't treat anyone under 18 as an adult about anything else.
Yeah.
So in America, if you're under 18, although obviously some of this can be done without parents' consent, you cannot join the military. You can't drink alcohol. In a lot of states, you can't drive with other people under 20 years old in your car. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't see an R-rated movie without an adult.
Unless you sneak in.
Yeah, unless your movie theater is cool and chill. You can't rent a car until you're 25. You can't buy a lottery ticket. You can't open a bank account on your own. You can't get a tattoo or piercing. You can't vote. You can't do jury duty. And you can't sign a lease.
Oh, my.
And it's like so if you're in this type of situation, you cannot leave. You can't get out because you have no legal recourse anywhere.
Yeah.
You already, when you leave your parents' like jurisdiction, basically, you're on your own, under your spouse now, I guess.
Unless you get emancipated, right? Because then you're legally made an adult. Yeah,
you're legally made an adult, I guess.
But you still can't do a lot of these things. Yeah.
You still can't do a lot of these things because it's like, it's just the law. Like, that's the law. So a lot of this stuff is like completely incompatible, incongruent, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So how the fuck, like, that's why I think a lot of the child marriage laws should be taken down, because you would have to dismantle all these laws to, you know what I mean? Like, to make it actually work. So, so that's part of it. And, you know, we've talked too, in one of our episodes, we talked about the teenage wasteland episode. We talked about how teenagers' brains aren't fully developed. That's teenagers and children, specifically the prefrontal cortex, which is the decision-making part of your brain. Which is responsible for a child's ability to plan and think about the consequences of their actions, solve problems, and control impulses.
It's not there. It's just a void. You don't even grow that until you're like 30.
Yeah. No, it's growing. It's there. It's just not developed until you're like in your mid-20s. Sometimes. I know a lot of people, I'm like, your prefrontal cortex is not there.
Hand raise emoji.
Yeah. No, you are very...
No, at that age, like when I was young, though, it was like not there.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That's just the fucking dynamics of your brain for everybody. Because it's like the prefrontal cortex is still developing.
Yeah.
Teenagers rely on a large part of the brain called the amygdala to make decisions and solve problems more than adults do. So the amygdala is associated with emotions, impulses, aggression, and instinctive behavior. So when your hormones are like raging, that's what's going to control your brain. And every other decision is going to revolve around what what you think is rational behavior, but it's not, because you just want to fucking fuck and play house.
Yeah, I was going to say that the only decisions it's making is like, do you think you could get fingered? Or, hey, maybe you could get a hand job out by the bleachers.
Yes. And I think too, like, if you're like in a situation, like any situation, it doesn't matter if you're like in a progressive like place or a very, you know, rural like place where you don't have all these like outside influences or whatever.
Yeah.
The motivations are still the same. Like, you're going to be influenced by what society is telling you you should be doing. And in a big city, it's like everybody's growing up super fast and fucking and doing all this stuff. In a rural society, people are getting married and having babies, and that's like, okay, this is fun, but it all boils down to fucking.
Yep.
It all boils down to fucking.
It all boils down to parts and holes.
Yeah.
And everyone's just trying to do that without being judged.
Yeah. So I feel like there's just no way to avoid it, and that's just...
Well, dry humping.
Yeah.
No, I'm just just kidding.
I mean, shit.
Like hand stuff, like all like hand and mouth stuff, and that's it.
Hand and mouth stuff, guys. It's so easy. No, I honestly like. This is how you. This is why you should be sex positive, because if you're not like teaching the children like this is not bad, it is natural.
Yeah.
But you gotta fucking realize this is not the end all be all. So. Yeah. At any rate, a teenager is just simply not equipped with emotional maturity, physical maturity. I mean, maybe sometimes physical maturity comes before your brain is literally developed, which is very confusing.
Oh yeah, I remember when kids had beards and shit on the bus. I was like, oh my god.
I didn't get my boobs until I was like 30 years old. So I don't know. Like it's, but if you got your boobs when you were like 12, it's like, okay, like people look at you different, and like it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get secondary sex characteristics and your brain is not fully developed. You're getting a lot of mixed messages. But I mean, emotional maturity, that doesn't come for some people at all. So
I feel like I feel like your body, the science of it tells you, oh yeah, you want to get down and like get some. Nothing in your body is telling you want to have like get a husband and be a mom. Like
but some people it is.
I think that societally it is, but like your body doesn't tell you that biologically for much later. Like I now the past few years, like I don't want to have kids, but my body sometimes is like, no, you might want kids. And I know, like, logically, I'm like, no, I don't want kids. But then I see a baby sometimes, and I'm like, oh, do I want a baby? And then I'm like, should we have babies so that someone could take care of us when we're old? And Pete's like, that's not a good reason. I'm like, no, you're right. I don't want babies.
You can just hold my baby.
Yeah. Your baby's going to take care of me when I'm old. And take care of you, too, obviously. But I'll just make sure it likes me a lot.
Yeah. You just, like... tell it weird jokes and tell him weird jokes and give him a beer when he's 18 and he's yours for life probably,
like in secret. Yeah
I'd
be like, all right, don't tell your parents.
Yeah, right. He's gonna be cool. He's gonna be cool, don't worry.
Totes. All right.
But yeah, I mean, all this said, adults shouldn't even be getting married sometimes, so let alone children. And if you somehow do make it work, like my grandparents did, for the most part, it's all built on the societal expectations. And, you know, we preach that girls are the most precious and their virginities put up on their purities put up on a pedestal, and you have to protect it at all costs. And then you build up all this stuff around it so that marriage becomes the end all be all. And we preach that sex is the end all be all. And if you do it when you're too young as a girl, you're done. You're just trash. So I don't know. There's just so much shit. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. And that's why this happens. That's why this is still a thing. And like I said, whatever an adult can do, a child cannot do. So a lot of these girls get married. They're locked in. They can't leave. Sometimes the marriage gets annulled due to like the state laws, like the Frontline podcast situation. But since they're not legal adults, they cannot file for divorce. They can't sign rental leases, and they can't seek protection in a shelter if they're abused for the most part. So that's pretty
what's
fucked.
Sad. That's what's very fucked up, because if you realize that a mistake was made, you know, and you're already in it, you can't get out.
Mm-mm.
And a lot of these, I mean, like, let's be real, religion is what's driving a lot of this.
Yeah.
you know, there are examples where it's like, oh no, like the girl got pregnant and, you know, her boyfriend's only a couple years older and they should get married, whatever. Well, okay, so there is this organization. It's called Unchained at Last, and it's a nonprofit that's helping actually push legislation in every state because these are state laws. And it's an organization that's helping actually get these get legislation passed. Specifically, you already mentioned New Jersey and Delaware. Like this organization is a huge
the result.
part. Yeah.
That's the result of this organization of getting the state law changed.
Yep. So it's founded and run by a woman named Frady Reese. She was married at 19, so she's not technically a child bride, but it was like a matchmaker situation in her Orthodox Jewish community in Brooklyn. So this is like happening everywhere, and just like super religious, and you know, kind of in that community, when you're a woman, you don't really like have a job. You know, your main purpose is you're the head of the house, and well, not the head of the house. You run the house stuff.
You run the household, yeah.
Yeah, and you have babies. And that's you know, very similar to lots of religions where you have like a woman's role, traditional woman's role. And so she got married, and she like knew in the first week she like didn't want to be married to this man. And she's like, oh no, this is not good, because he was like abusive. So she was an adult technically, but you know, in that community, she would have been ostracized. Yeah. And so and the only way to get a divorce is if the husband grants it to you. Right. And so, you know, that wasn't going to happen. So she basically like had a family, raised some kids, 2 kids, I think, didn't get divorced until she was 32. But then she started speaking out about her situation and just making people aware, like, hey, you know, maybe like this isn't a great situation, and it was really hard for me, and he was abusive. I didn't really have anywhere to go. And in doing so, she actually found a community of like other women who had left a lot of child marriages.
Oh, wow.
Who found themselves in the same situation. Like they, you know, they didn't feel like they could leave. And some of them actually couldn't because they were too young. They didn't have anywhere to go. No one would take them in. So this organization does 2 things. One, it helps women, or girls, excuse me. It helps young girls in child marriages that want to escape. Like, because if you take them in, like it could be a problem or whatever. So like they raise money, they try and help those girls
to actually like extract them.
Yeah, to like
extract
them.
And like get them lawyers or whatever the fuck they, whatever resources they need. Yeah.
Get them emancipated from their parents so that they, you know, whatever. They're like trying to help to figure out those things. But it is very tricky because you could get in trouble. Like the organization could get in trouble if they're doing things wrong, because then it's like, or like the guy could just come take the lady. Yeah. Because she's not an adult, and and he's the legal guardian. But the other thing they're doing,
because it becomes kidnapping at that point. Like, literally.
Because it's a kid still.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they she's been working for a long time, and she's trying to get anyone that's under the age of 18 prohibited from getting married, no matter what the circumstances are. That's like her thing. Because when you leave room, I think like we've been talking about, it's very gray. And when you leave room, yes, you leave room sometimes for the situations that are, you know, more innocent, and like it's like 2 young kids and da-da-da. Yeah. And they just want to be married. But you also leave room for all these other loopholes where like gross people can take advantage. That's the thing. So she's like,
that's the thing.
Yeah. So she's like, under 18, no one should be able to get married. And the first state they passed it in was Delaware, and I think it's largely because there was a female like senator or something. It was a female that was like in a role of government power that was like helping with this legislation. So they finally got it passed. She was also working with Chris Christie for like a super long time. The New Jersey, was he a senator or governor?
Governor, I think.
Yeah. So like they were working with him.
But he's trash, so.
Oh, he's straight up trash. And they started realizing that like there's just like a lot of bipartisan bullshit that gets pulled into this because everybody has an agenda. But eventually, they got a new governor and she was able to push it for New Jersey. So
Great.
in those two states, you cannot get married under the age of 18.
Period.
Yeah, period. And there's she's currently working on Ohio and Pennsylvania, which I was actually interested that Idaho has like the largest the largest instances of child marriage.
Child marriage, yeah.
Yeah, Ohio and Pennsylvania though, those are her next ones cuz they have a lot. Like it's like a lot more than most other states. And I was thinking, I wonder if it's because they have Amish communities.
Yeah, and I feel like Idaho too has a big FLDS, Fundamental Latter-day Saints community too.
So Mormon.
So, but like the extreme. But I don't know. That could be a thing.
Makes sense.
Because the FLDS is doing some wild shit with child marriage.
Oh no. Well, and like you just think, because you're like, well, why wouldn't everyone just be like, yeah, well, let's all agree, like no one needs to be married under 18. Like you don't need,
That's
like,
the thing.
It's
Yeah,
all,
no, but
it's all like religious, like things, views that are like pushing that. You don't need to be married,
right?
Like to live in this world.
But if you want to have sex, the Bible says you have to be married.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Nobody under 18 should get married.
No.
Period.
Yeah.
If you want to have sex, have sex. Just fucking do it. Like, you don't need to be married. You don't need to have a child being born out of wedlock. Like, if keep the baby, don't get crazy with it.
Yeah.
Have a fucking child out of wedlock. Who gives a fuck?
I know.
It's just astonishing that it's like it all kind of hinges on this idea that having a baby out of wedlock is the worst thing that could happen.
Do you know? Oh my God. So reading about this lady's organization, because she, girls will call her and be like, hey, I'm 16. I don't, I'm married. I don't want to be in this marriage. I don't even know this old creepy guy. Like he is making me have sex with him, and he wants me to have his kids, and I don't want to, and I don't know how I ended up here. And then she's like, well, you don't have a ton of choices. You can't leave. He's your guardian. Like da da da. Like this lady says that a lot of the girls she talks to like end up attempting suicide. Yeah, because they'd that's how
the
like
only
severe
way out.
This is.
Yeah,
it's because they're trapped.
They're so incredibly trapped, and it's just they don't know this stuff though. Like you don't know this stuff intellectually. Like as a teenager, you think it's gonna be a fun time, and it's like this is like what the step in life should be for you. Yeah, you don't like. Not you don't. And marriage is not. It's not for me. It's great for a lot of people. It's great, but it's not everything. And having a kid out of wedlock is just who gives a fuck. Yeah. Like it's so stupid. I don't know. It makes me so upset that this is like this societal kind of pressure we put on girls, and
I know.
And it's fucked. It's so fucked up.
Well, it's like, and if you do have sex, you're worthless if it's before marriage, and no one will want you, and you're dirty, and it's
and
like
your dad will be so disappointed in you. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Why the fuck does your dad need to know anything about anything that's happening in your fucking life?
Oh my God.
Why are you wearing the purity ring shit, all that?
We should do an episode on that. That stuff is crazy.
I mean, this is all part of that. These like purity ceremonies. It's just like, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. If
oh my God.
Like I can't even. Listen, I get if you want to, if that's your jam and that's like important to you. Yeah. Waiting until marriage. I'm not, no judgment free. But fuck, like that. God damn it. Why though? This is so stupid. I can't anymore.
I know. I can't. It's too rough. It's too bad.
You sound like The Grudge.
It's exhausting.
I don't know. I have, my thoughts and feelings and fucking everything. Have sex. Have sex. Absolutely have sex before marriage. You need to know if that dick worked. And
you need to know if he know what he doing.
Yes. Fuck.
Or she or whatever.
Or she
or them. I don't know.
Them. Fuck each other. Live together.
Yeah.
And then be like, well, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Better leave. better call it quits now before you get married. Get married. Don't get married. Who fucking cares?
I don't care.
You and Pete have been together forever, and you're not.
No, I don't think we're getting married. Honestly, I'm like, it's one, the ship has sailed. Two, no. Two, what's it even gonna do? Just like, I just think I don't need to. I don't need people calling me Mrs. His name. I'm my own person. I just want to be my own person, damn it. And I just don't care.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah. And it's like, cool.
Yeah, you guys have it's your own thing. It's your own choice.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, technically you could keep all the things that you want and you just like have a thing that says like legally binding thing. Like,
yeah, but we're just,
I think marriage is important. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's so fucking important that I waited till I was 30 to get married because I give a shit about my choices.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make the best choices for myself. I wanted to become an adult and be a full fucking realized human before I made that decision, because it's a big fucking decision. And I think everybody should be allowed to get married just as long as you're a fucking adult. Like that's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But dude, I don't know. There's so many things in this that are just so fucked up, and yeah.
My head hurts.
Mine does too.
Oh no.
I need to lie down after this.
Well, we exhausted ourselves. I need a fainting couch. I'm having a spell.
Oh, well, guess what, people? Child marriage is still legal in most of the states.
Ugh.
So if you don't like that, you should read more about it. There's a website called girlsnotbrides.org. That's a good resource to learn more about it. Yeah, it's a shitty topic. Choose good choices.
Yeah, make good choices for yourself.
For yourself.
Also, fucking be a strong female role model. If you're a female, if you're a male, be very open about females that let them make their own choices.
Yeah. And also at the same time, no judgment. But just don't hurt anybody. Realize that a lot of these choices do end up hurting people.
Yeah.
In the long run. Like,
no judgment unless you're 50 and you trying to marry a 14 or 15-year-old, and then I say you better fuck right off.
Major judgment.
Major judgment. You know what? You should be flogged publicly. And on the internet. You should be Karen'd. Okay? I'm talking.
What's that?
You know Karen? It's like that meme where she calls the police on the black neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Airbnb people or whatever. You should be fucking Karen'd if you're trying to marry
you permit Patty, you fucking...
Yeah, we're going to meme the shit out of you.
You fucking barbecue Becky.
How many of these guys are even attractive? Let's be honest. None? Is my guess.
I mean, I don't give a fuck if this dude, like, is John Stamos or some equally hot dude, like, and you're like, I want to bone that guy. Just bone him.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, that's weird.
If you're young,
no.
That's gross.
That's gross. No, just masturbate to a picture. I don't know. God, we need to end this.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
follow us on social medias.
Yeah, DTFU podcast everywhere. Go to our website. It's dtfupodcast.com. Check out our Patreon. We have a lot of cool stuff on there. We have bonus episodes about things that you guys don't even know about. Somebody joined the Facebook group recently and suggested a topic of the Yellowstone caldera, which we actually did a bonus episode on. So
very fun.
In the Patreon. So there's like stuff like that in there. Lots more stuff where we're talking about how we're living in dystopian society. Yeah, it's great. So check that out if you would like. Leave us a review on iTunes if you want. Yeah. All the things.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, be excellent to each other and yourselves.
Oh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.